back at you with another video. As you can tell, we're still having a terrible time down here in Florida. As I'm starting this video, it's about 5 o'clock Eastern time on the 24th, Tuesday 24th. We had, I've got a little bit of cork in my wine. Or actually it's not even cork, something below, that's cork. Been to Hollywood Studios this morning. We rope dropped Hollywood Studios. And wow, we had a great time. And we'll go back in an hour or so. We decided to split our day up. And so this morning we got there right at open and we rushed over to Slinky Dog Dash, which is a ride that it's always very, very popular. It's a very fun roller coaster type ride for kids, but adults too. But it's fun for adults, but it's not so intense. Little kids, smaller kids can't ride. Not tiny kids, but there's a height requirement, but it's not as big. So that ride actually existed the last time we were here in 2019, but we couldn't get on it. So back in the day, fast passes, you could book your fast passes months in advance, but we couldn't get them. They sold out in seconds in the morning every day, and the standby line was 100 minutes or plus, so we were never going to sit in that. So we just skipped it, but we wanted to make sure we got it this time. So when I got up at 7 this morning to book my lightning lanes, I immediately went to Slinky Dog Dash, and it was immediately booking at like noon. So I ended up booking the lightning lane for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Just like last night, I can't say that one. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at like 9:15. So the park opened at 8:30. So 9:15 we had our first lightning lane, and then we just ran. We got to the park, we went inside, and we head towards Slinky Dog Dash, even though it was down at the time. Tracy said, let's go anyway, let's just go. So, and thank goodness we did, because by the time we got there and got in the lineup, which was, the lineup there is pretty circuitous. By the time we actually got to the lineup, the ride opened up. We were in line for maybe 25 minutes tops, and it's a fantastic ride. Just a lot of fun. And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a home run. It's like a love letter to Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. It's the first attraction in any of the parks actually featuring Mickey Mouse, the OG, and that was great. And so we also hit our last. Today was a lot about first and last already. So the first two rides on those two rides, and our last ride probably ever on the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster. Two reasons. One, it's old and tougher for those of us of a sort of advanced age to handle, because it really smacks you around pretty good. It's the opposite of the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, which was so smooth. This is not smooth. I'm pretty sure I got concussed on this thing. It's a great ride. It's a lot of fun. But also, the second thing is I think the licensing deal with Aerosmith is up, and I don't think they're going to renew it, so they're going to end up re-theming it and probably changing the whole ride completely. So I doubt we'll ever be back on that ride. Even if we do come back to Florida again, and there's no guarantee we ever will. This could be our last Florida trip. We're not sure. Anyway, so yeah, we did those three, and we booked the individual lightning lane for Star Wars Rise of the Resistance for 7:45 tonight. This was at 9 in the morning. They were booking for 7:45 tonight, so we booked that, and I also booked another ride on Slinky Dog Dash. So we're gonna do that again, and this evening, and then we're probably just gonna shop and look around and enjoy it'll be our first evening in the parks, and of course the evenings are gorgeous there. They have so many beautiful lights, so we're gonna do that. This is the first bottle of the wine.com wine that I'm opening. This is the Albarino, and it is good. It's actually a little too cold. It's been fridge cold, so I'm letting it calm down a little bit. So I'm not going to open the whole bottle now, because we're getting back in the car in an hour, so I probably shouldn't drink a whole bottle of wine before I drive back to the park. But one glass. We were concerned, of course, that it's sitting in a FedEx warehouse for 2 days. It wasn't going to be any good. And I still wouldn't be surprised if there were some of the bottles that were cooked, but this one doesn't seem to be. It doesn't have any of those oxidative qualities. It seems to be perfectly good. I'm getting Albarino type characteristics from it. I'm getting stone fruit, and I'm getting salinity. Yeah, it smells like Albarino. It tastes like Albarino. Still a little too cold, so I'll probably give a full review on this when I finish the bottle, which will probably be tomorrow. But for now, it alleviates my fears about the entire case of wine that we got being cooked. This one's definitely not cooked. All right, so off to Hollywood Studios for round 2.
Here we are at Docking Bay 7 after an epic Star Wars night. 2 fried chicken tip gifts, come with broccoli and mac and cheese. 42 credits. How is it?
Best space broccoli ever.
Space broccoli. There'll be a lot of it, space broccoli. All the things to take to space, right? Actually, that is pretty good space broccoli. Yeah.
Well, here's a one-day break from Disney. We are at Universal Studios. We're going to do Islands of Adventure right now and try to see how long the line is for the Velocicoaster. We have express passes, so we can skip the lines at every ride but 2, Velocicoaster and Hagrid's motorbike adventure, whatever it's called. So we're going to try to get those 2 done as soon as we can. Of course, they're in different parks. But we'll see what their lineup for Velocicoaster's like. Come along with me. Well, here we are, Velocicoaster. 25 minutes. We'll see. It usually means 40 at Universal, but let's go. Now I need to sit down for a minute or an hour. Holy cow, that was the most intense roller coaster I've ever been on. Fun, but if you're not a fan of, crazy, I might avoid that one. The wait time wasn't too much longer than it said. It was probably maybe 35 minutes. I guess it depends on when the time starts. In the room where Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt are arguing with each other, kind of the pre-show, or from the time we actually got on the ride. Well, I mean, it's 10 after now, so it's been 35. Yeah, it's only been 35 minutes from when we got in the line till we're done the ride. So I guess 25-minute wait's probably not too unreasonable. Pretty close. Holy cow, though! Wow! Just the only word I can use to describe that is wow. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please respect the spell limits. Here we are at Hogsmeade, and it's time for butterbeer. One of the things we found at City Walk today was Voodoo Donuts. Now, this is one of those things, if you know, you know. We were watching whatever YouTube channel we watch, Bill and Lisa's Food and Travel. I'll put a link to it below. It's a wonderful channel if you like to watch travel. She works for Disney. He works for the airlines. They go on these. They travel all the time. It's about every week. They both have the same days off. It's like Monday, Tuesday, so they don't travel weekends. Sometimes they go to Hawaii for the day. Yeah. Anyway, they were in Portland a few months ago, and they mentioned this place called Voodoo Donuts that they'd heard about. They'd been to once before, and it's the OG Donuts in Portland, and it's basically still only in Portland, but they also have one at City Walk in LA, and we found one in City Walk here, and the donuts are quite impressive. Let's see what we got here. Here we are. We got a 6-pack, miscellaneous. This is an orange creamsicle donut. That's maple with a Bavarian cream in the middle. That's like a strawberry glazed, strawberry jam glazed, something like that. That's called the Captain My Captain. It's got Captain Crunch on it. I think that's a traditional sprinkled donut. And this is old fashioned with dark chocolate on it. We haven't tasted them yet, but we'll get to that soon. And we're very excited for it. Okay, here we go. We're splitting these two. We're going to dig into the orange creamsicle first. Wow. Yeah, it tastes like an orange creamsicle with a beautiful custard in the middle. But I think they're white chocolate balls on the outside. Crunchy. Oh, wow. I want 6 more of those. All right. So maple with Bavarian cream. Looks like a custard. It's probably the same as that.
Oh, it's not orange custard?
Very glad they don't have one of these places in within 200 miles of where I live.
It's better than Tim Hortons, huh?
Jesus. Tim Hortons should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, I think they are.
Wow. What can I say? On the wine scale, a couple of 98s right there. Wow. Those are good. Okay, so reviews of the 2 bottles of wine we had tonight. First one is the Albarino that I had opened yesterday. So obviously my concern about this wine that came from wine.com was that it might have been cooked. The Albarino didn't give me any of the indications it was cooked. It wasn't spectacular, but it was perfectly good. So I break that 88 points, which is way lower than a lot of the critics' scores gave it. So, was it the best bottle of that particular wine? I'm going to say not, but that's what it tastes like, so that's what I'm going to give it. So the bottle number 2 we opened up was this one here. I'll show that and I'll put it up there. It is Viña Tarapaca 2020 Gran Reserva Etiqueta Azul. This is a red blend from Chile. It was $48.99 from wine.com. It's delicious, absolutely delicious. It is a blend of 75% Cab Sauv, 10% Syrah, 9% Cab Franc, and 6% Malbec. Now on the nose, if it's been a blind tasting, I instantly would have went to Malbec. I think my second guess might have been Carmenere. From Chile, that almost makes sense, except that there's no Carmenere in this whatsoever. It's really fruity, fruit forward, and a little bit jammy, but in a nice way. It's got some like a little bit, hints of underbrush and some dried herbs, but mostly fruit. It's fruit. Blackberry, blueberry, cassis, a lot of the black fruit you're gonna normally find in a wine like that. No pyrazines to speak of, really. A little bit of bell pepper on the palate, along with all the black fruit, blue fruit. Just a hint of like a sweet tobacco leaf. And medium plus to long finish, really nice. They gave us little stickers that actually show the wine and the price and the ratings. So it was given 93 points from James Suckling, and of course, if you know James Suckling, tends to be generous. But in this case, I'm giving it exactly the same score, 93 points. It's delicious. He's right. It also, here's the interesting one, Decanter magazine rated this 97 points. Now, I don't know. Whoever tasted this at Decanter was having a good day, I think. And it is a lovely wine, but that's a little bit absurd. 93 points is a really good score for this wine. $48.98 Chilean blend, 2020. So it's a last year's vintage, right? I mean, it's delicious. Who knows what it gets to? If it ages well, I'm sure it will. But honestly, it's a really delicious wine. No complaints there at all. So we had a great day today at Universal Studios. So let's talk about that for a minute. We had express passes, skip the line passes. So those were $109.99 each before tax. And with the park entry, which is probably $125 or $130, consider this could have been a $500 day for us. Now, we didn't pay anything for our park entry passes. We got them through air miles. We had a ton of air miles to use, and you can get this kind of thing. So our park passes were free. Hence why we were willing to spend about $330 Canadian when you convert it for express line passes, which we really didn't need. Whatever. We did make use of them, but just it was quiet today. The lineups were not particularly long. Now the express passes, the price of them is dependent on it's flex passes, so they get much more expensive on busy days. So the fact today was about as expensive as they get. Sorry, inexpensive as they get. $109.99 is the lowest option. So they knew it wasn't going to be that busy today. So maybe we should have taken that into account. But we decided, since we didn't pay for the passes, we'd do it, because I know it's Tracy with her, for those of you who don't know, she's got an autoimmune disease that attacks her joints, so it does sometimes worse than others, and quite often in the Florida heat, and it was almost 30 degrees today. Well, it was probably over 30 degrees today, actually. It was hot. It was scheduled to get to 29, but every day we've been here, it has surpassed its forecast, so it was warm today. No complaints. I was out there in short and t-shirt, tank top. It was a beautiful day. Beautiful. No rain, 0% chance of precipitation, and 0% chance of thunderstorms. That's always a good thing down in Florida. So anyway, we had a really good day. We did most of the Harry Potter rides. Unfortunately, the Escape from Gringotts Bank ride was actually down, so we didn't get to that one. But we got the other ones in, which we've done before, which was great. And we had some butterbeer, and that's really all that matters. Butterbeer is spectacular. And so as for the express passes, it wasn't good on two rides. It wasn't good on Velocicoaster, and it wasn't good on Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. So the Velocicoaster, when we got there, had a very, very low wait, so we did that one, no big deal. Hagrid's was an hour and a half, but the guy at the gate noticed Tracy's cane. She had her cane with her today, and suggested we go to the guest services thing and get They have like a disability program where you kind of just like give you a return time. So if it's an hour and a half lineup, you just come back in an hour and a half, so you don't have to stand in the lineup. And the guy didn't actually do that for us, but he just gave us a front of the line pass for one attraction, which is fine, but we only needed it for one attraction. So we actually walked up through the exit and walked up, and the hour and a half became about 10 minutes. Then we got to near the front of the line, and one of the cast members, no, they don't call them cast members, Universal team members, I think, noticed Tracy with the cane and skipped us through another part of the line. So we ended up, the hour and a half became, I don't know, 15 minutes, maybe 20 at the most. So that was pretty awesome. And Hagrid's motorbike adventure is incredible. Now, I don't have much footage of any of this stuff because they don't allow filming on most of the rides. In fact, you had to put your stuff in lockers for most of these rides. So I have no footage to show you. But the Velocicoaster, hopefully by the time you see this part, you've already seen the Velocicoaster, because I'm going to try to find the stock footage, and if I do find it, I'll put it in earlier when we were on the Velocicoaster, but that was quite a ride. A lot of these rides we really enjoyed, and we'll never do them again. It's getting to the point where a lot of the Universal rides are screens, virtual rides. And maybe just because Velocicoaster almost murdered us first thing this morning, it was tough. Like, I was getting a little nauseous in places that I've never gotten nauseous before. So the Hagrid's motorbike ride was amazing. No problems there, but it was an actual roller coaster. They call it a theme coaster, I think. So it's like a story coaster, is what they call it. Because there's parts where you stop and there's a bit of a story, and then you go fast again. It's spectacular. It's like being on a motorcycle with a sidecar. Amazing, just incredible, man. Our favorite ride of the day by a mile. Velocicoaster was, I would have loved that 25 years ago. Today it was tough. When I was much younger, it would have been amazing. And then we did ride from race through New York with Jimmy Fallon, which was there's a fruit fly in here, a fruit fly. Race from New York with Jimmy Fallon, which again was like a virtual screen where you're not really moving, but it feels like you're moving. That made me a little nauseous. And the Harry Potter escape. No, not Escape from Gringotts. Harry Potter. Ooh, I forgot the name of the ride. The first main ride from the Hogsmeade. Again, you do move, but it's also a lot of virtual movement, and that again was tough to handle. So we got in what we wanted to get in 4 or 5 hours there, and we headed back, and we hit the pool, which was pretty awesome because it was gorgeous. In fact, it was 29 or 28 degrees at that point. It was really warm, but it was really windy. So that was the only problem. We couldn't sit there that long because the wind was, when you weren't in the pool or the hot tub, it was distractingly chilly because it was a really strong wind. I thought the palm trees were going to fall over. No, not really, but it was a really strong wind. Anyway, so it was a great day, no complaints. We had some really good wine, and we've thoroughly enjoyed this day. Tomorrow we're sleeping in a little bit, and then we're going to a little time at the Animal Kingdom. So stay tuned for that. Breakfast at Ohana with the characters, family style. It's a big plate of stuff. Biscuits, ham, sausage, there's some potatoes in there, right? Mm-hmm. Scalloped potatoes. Scrambled eggs, not scalloped potatoes, you dummy. What's down at the bottom down there? More eggs. And Stitch waffles. Mickey waffles. We already had some pineapple coconut bread, which was delicious. And the characters are around. There's Stitch, and Pluto, Mickey, and there's one more here somewhere. Oh, Lilo's around somewhere too. But we've already had pictures with them. I'll show those as well. I want one of those biscuits. All right, so I'm up early. I'm going to talk a little quiet so I don't wake up the wife. And I apologize for the lighting. I don't have my proper equipment here, so I'm kind of stuck with whatever I got. And I don't want it to be too dark, so the shadows are going to have to stay for now. So yesterday at Animal Kingdom, we had a terrific time. We've discovered that if you only use the lightning lanes and stack them, it's better to go in the afternoon/evening because by then you've got a few of them booked. So we were able to do Kilimanjaro safaris, Expedition Everest, and both the rides in the Pandora section in about 2 hours. Awesome. I don't know how that park ever survived before Pandora arrived. I can't even remember. Like really, those are only the 4 rides that we were that interested in. There's some, animals to see. And if you live in a city with a zoo, you can find that stuff. And there's some other rides that are lesser to us. So, it's really not a full day park. But after the last ride, Tracy's feet were acting up there, so we decided just to sit down at the lounge, Nomad Lounge, which we've heard was terrific. And they have churros there that people talk about online. They're being so amazing. So we decided to sit down and have. We were hungry. We hadn't had dinner, so we hadn't eaten since the breakfast that I showed you. So we sat down, and they have small plates. It's a lounge. They have all kinds of different small plates. I got some lobster mac and cheese, and then we also split some. It was a pork belly dish, which was delicious, a little spicy. And Tracy's not a big fan of spicy, but it was delicious. And also some. They're called Cuban something sliders, but they're basically beef and pork sliders. They were also fantastic. The food was great. Then we had the churros, which I thought were a little overrated. I gotta say, no, interestingly enough, these churros are gluten-free. So they're probably the best gluten-free churros I've ever had in my life, but I don't care about gluten-free that much. So I talked to the waiter about it because churros are common here, but I think they're even more common in Disneyland. You can't walk 4 feet in Disneyland without finding a churro cart. And I would put Disneyland's churros up against these ones any day. Not to say they weren't delicious; they were delicious, and they come with a couple sauces, like a mocha coffee type of sauce, and also a vanilla sauce. The vanilla sauce was fantastic. Not a huge fan of mocha, but yeah, so that was great. But you know, were they legendary? Did we have to go? Could we not have avoided those churros? I don't know. They were very good. But one of the interesting things I found out about this lounge that I didn't realize before, they have quite an eclectic little wine list. So this lounge is in the Africa section of the park. So you think, oh, maybe all the wines are from South Africa. Well, they're from South something. A lot of wines from South Africa, yes. And the rest of the wines are all from South America, Argentina, Chile. And they were a few wines you'll recognize that you would not expect to see. And a few really strange ones, including one, a grape I'd never heard of in my life. I'm gonna have to look it up before I'll do a review, but I'll have to look it up again because I can't even remember what it's called. Buchantaran or something like that. So of course I had to order that. And it was actually quite good. It was reminding me a little bit of like a Grey Monk reflection, like the orange muscat off. It wasn't quite as sweet as that, but it was definitely off dry. But it was really quite refreshing. It was tasty. I mean, and I looked it up, and you can get a bottle of it for like $17, so it wasn't an expensive wine. But it was pretty tasty. And the other two wines I had, it was a Chardonnay from Chile and a Cab Sauv from Argentina. Both wineries that I recognize, and you'll recognize too when I show you the reviews, were very, very good. So it was 3 for 3 on the wines, no complaints there. And there was a celebrity there at the park. We saw a little bit of the Governor Ron DeSantis was there. He was scurrying off to one of his rallies. I got some actual footage of it, I think. So, other than that, we had a really good day. We took a lift back to the Polynesian where we had left our car when we had breakfast at Ohana. So we stopped at the Polynesian, then we took the monorail to the Grand Floridian and the Contemporary just to look around and shop a little bit. We're going to go back to the Grand Floridian at some point during this trip and go to the Enchanted Rose Lounge, where they also have some amazing wines by the glass, or at least they did last time we were here. I'm sure they still do. I think we had Tignanello and Opus One by the glass. So that's not bad. So we're going to do that later in the trip. So that's it for this video. Tomorrow, which is actually today, we're going to be going back to the Magic Kingdom. Again, we're going to do it in the evening. We haven't been to the Magic Kingdom at night yet. We're going to do that and try and knock off the other few rides that we want to do we didn't get to on day one. And there will be some more wine to report on too. Oh yes, there will. So until next time, drink great wine. See you soon.
Here we are, Expedition Everest, our first time in front row. They have a special queue for those of us wanting row 1. I hear it's the best. Let's find out. I'm sure Disney's fixed the track by now, right? trek up the mountain. Nothing to see here. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Load up a little higher than I thought. Wow, the view. I can't believe they still haven't fixed this track. Good Lord. Look at that. Tower of Terror over there. You see the Epcot? You see everything. See all the parks from here. Hey, we're going to fix this damn track. That doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all. Well, I don't see him though. Oh, somebody's crouching. I told you, just a small little trek up the mountain, nothing special.